Pokémon, gotta catch 'em all, right? Yeah, sure, but not every Pokémon is worth catching. Hello, and welcome to my follow-up countdown. Last time I listed my top 10 favorite Pokémon. This time I won't be this generous. I will list my top 10 least favorite Pokémon. Maybe your favorite Pokémon will be on this list, so please, I will say it again. I don't want to see this video get spammed with flame wars. This list will contain something called an own opinion, and therefore it will be 100% biased. It's my countdown after all, so if you can't handle this, then go away or just deal with it. And because it is a very touchy video in the first place, I will just disable the ratings because, let's face it, the internet is not a place where people take personal bias very well. Oh, and also, see all of these Pokémon here? Yeah, they're not on the list. I personally have nothing against them, so if you clicked on this video just to hear me bash them, then this is not the kind of countdown you were looking for. Actually, I don't despise derpy or weak Pokémon. I have the tendency to loathe broken, overpowered and annoying Pokémon. But before we start, we have to make up some rules in order to make this a bit more interesting. The rules are as following. Only the main games count. I do not take the anime, the movies, the trading card game or any of the spin-off games into consideration. I only look at the canonical setting of the main series of the games. This rule also takes Super Smash Bros. Out of the picture. Only real Pokémon count. That means no glitch Pokémon. And the last rule, ties are allowed. Well then, let's not waste any time and start with the countdown. I hope you will enjoy this more than I do. I always hear people complain that they hate Garbodor because it is the garbage Pokémon. Do you know what the true garbage Pokémon is? This thing! This Pokémon made me go, why Game Freak? Why? We do not need to have this Unibrow duck Pokémon. In my opinion, this Pokémon sucks. It's the only Pokémon with dreadful stats on this list, I might add. Back on topic, this Pokémon really coins the term garbage. The design, garbage. Stats, garbage. Move pool, well, it's okay actually. But with these dreadful stats, you can't utilize them anyway. So again, I call garbage. It also has the most unoriginal type combination in the game. Wow, normal flying. We haven't seen that before. But why would anyone want to use this thing in battle? Even when it is holding the stick item, it won't do a whole lot of damage. Oh, and that special hold item that is only usable on Farfetch increases what? Crit hacks, not attack or anything useful, no. It boosts the critical hit ratio. The majority of competitive players hate crit hacks, as it requires zero strategy. It's basically just luck, which the competitive scene is trying to bring to an absolute minimum for years. And this for a Pokémon that only does scratch damage at best. Pair this with a Stealth Rock weakness, snail-like speed and paper-thin defenses, and you get something that is more suited for your cattle than for the battlefield. Now that I think about it, it even comes with a free leak, and its German name, Porenta, sounds a lot like polenta, a dish popular in North Italy. Great, now I'm hungry. Next. This spot is a tie between two Pokémon that are very similar to each other, but I dislike them for different reasons. Say hello to Lopunny and Diggersty. Let's start this off with Lopunny. Lopunny was not needed at all. Lopunny is based off of a Playboy bunny. Really, Game Freak? That's like the worst thing you can have to base a Pokémon off of, and in an E-rated game no less. Why do you censor a lot of things that are actually harmless, and then you proceed to base a Pokémon off of something that is clearly linked to sexuality? Confusion much? Lopunny is an oh so common normal type Pokémon, which is sadly strong enough to tick you off. It got a mega evolution with the release of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which looks unappealing. And I really started to dislike this bland bunny when I had to fight Flint in Pokémon Pearl. 2 words, mirror code. But then we got another lousy bunny, meet Diggersty. It's a lame normal ground type Pokémon with mediocre stats, but it is still strong enough to annoy me in online matches. And it also is really ugly. I will just stick with Azumarill. And here comes another tie on my list. Enter the Ursaring and Beartic lines. Okay, I have to admit that this entry is very personal. I happen to have a huge grudge against bears. Bears are, hands down, the most overrated animal ever, next to horses. You cannot even walk into a toy store without seeing at least 10 teddy bears. In the media, especially in older cartoons, bears were always presented as super strong, wow, so cool, ultimate animal, you can't beat them. And I was so fed up with this as a child. Sure, there were some exceptions, but it became such a cliché that I'm just annoyed by it. And, oh, by the way, bear cubs aren't that cute in my opinion, so why do a lot of people obsess over them? So it didn't come as a surprise that I wouldn't like Beartic, Ursaring and their pre-evolutions. On top of that, they have meh stats, types that do not go along well with their below average defense stats, horrible shinies, and the designs are ugly in my opinion. Ursaring looks really dumb with that giant ring on its stomach. Beartic drooling spit is frozen, which looks just stupid and gross at the same time. As for pre-evolutions, Teddy Ursa is a teddy, so no plus points there, and Cubchoo is just as disgusting as its evolution. Next. Okay, now we are done with the Pokémon that have bad or mediocre stats, and now we are entering the realm of broken and annoying. If there's one thing that makes a Pokémon detestable for me, then that would be brokenness. And now I will tackle the only dragon Pokémon on this list, Garchomp, or more like Garchomp. Okay, I'll stop. Oh Garchomp, you're the only dragon in the entire game that I don't like. It's a shame, because I really like the dragon type, but Garchomp, no. After getting all these awesome dragon designs in Gen 3, Gen 4 came around and gave us this. Ugliest dragon in the game. It also has a shiny form so similar to its original that you need a microscope to see the difference. Also, do you remember the competitive scene back in Generation 4? Nearly everyone had a Garchomp on his team. It was really annoying, because Garchomp is super strong to the point of being nearly broken. A lot of dragons had this problem apparently, so Generation 6 wanted to buff dragons like Garchomp by introducing the fairy type. This sounds all nice and dandy, but tell me, why did it get a mega evolution? It didn't need one in the first place. Why do they buff Pokemon that don't need a buff, while ignoring ones that just are asking to get one? That's like giving steroids to Chuck Norris. You got to know when enough is enough. For those who watch my top 18 favorite Pokémon types countdown, this entry may come as a surprise. The following Pokémon has 2 types that I really like. Enter Bronzong. Even though Bronzong has a great type combination, I can't stand it. Back in the Generation 4 meta game, this bell from hell was super annoying. When I searched for an online battle in Pokémon Battle of Evolution, this ugly thing showed up just way too often. Too bad that it is also a pain to fight. Before the Generation 6 Steel nerf, Bronzong had only 2 weaknesses, Fire and Ground. To make things much worse, this spell has two abilities that take away one of these weaknesses. Levitate makes it immune to ground type attacks, and Heatproof takes its fire weakness away. Combine this with a good physical and special bulk, and you get something that is very hard to get rid of. It just wouldn't die. But that's not all. The icing on the cake, it has access to some of the most annoying moves ever. It can learn obnoxious moves like Explosion, Hypnosis and Confuse Ray. Add some leftovers and this thing will drive you crazy. Since Generation 6, the Steel type lost its Ghost and Dark resistances, so now Bronzong isn't that big of a wall anymore, but it is still very annoying, and I still don't like facing it. Prepare for trouble and make it double! Oh no. Oh Kangaskhan, I just can't like you. I already ranted about her in another countdown of mine. I talked about how horrified I was when a Kangaskhan which evolved from a level 0M corrupted all of my PC boxes in Pokémon Blue. That experience alone made me dislike Kangaskhan. But then, as of Generation 6, it became worse. Much worse. In Pokémon X and Y, Kangaskhan got a Mega Evolution. A horribly broken Mega Evolution. The funny thing is that nobody saw this coming, but holy Arceus, this kangaroo is OP! Let me explain. Her stats in her Mega form are very good, but that's not the primary reason why Mega Kangaskhan is a game breaker. Mega Kangaskhan has the ability Parental Bond, which gives her the ability to attack twice in one turn, with the second attack making half the damage of the original attack. Do you know what this means for competitive battling? This basically gives Mega Kangaskhan a free choice band boosted attack that can break substitutes and that can be exploited very easily. An infamous example, Power Up Punch. Power Up Punch might not look like a lot at first glance with its only 40 base power, but when the attack is carried out, the user's attack stat gets boosted by one stage. Add Parental Bond to the mix and this attack essentially gives her a free freaking sword stance that does damage at the same time. She also has a huge move pool, making her unpredictable and very dangerous. She is very hard to counter, so I guess she is the queen of the metagame alongside Mega Rayquaza as the king. It's about time a legendary appears on my list. This time I will rant about Terrakion. I remember being very eager to try out new Generation 5 Pokémon such as Chandelure and Galvantula in Wi-Fi battles back in the black and white days, only for it to be ruined by a stupid exploit involving Terrakion. Terrakion has the ability Justified, which raises its attack stat once it gets hit by a dark type attack. You can abuse this ability by having a Sneasel on the field during a double or triple battle. Let it use Beat Up on Terrakion and watch how its attack stat gets boosted 6 times. Now Terrakion uses Rock Slide and you're pretty much screwed. Gosh, that was annoying. The thing is, Beat Up will hit 6 times because it hits once for every Pokémon you have in your party, which is always 6 in triple battles. To make things worse, Rock Slide has a small chance to make the hit Pokémon flinch, so if you survive that 6 boosted stab attack Rock Slide from a beast with a base attack stat of 129, there's still the chance that you will flinch. Hooray. I really got fed up with this because I ran into this exploit for at least 3 times a day. I don't want to build a team to go around that exploit, that would be too centralizing, and that's why I hate Terrakion. As most of you may have figured out already, I hate Pokémon that exploit things. I prefer honest and well thought out strategy. Strategy also means to not spam an attack over and over again. Yes, Typhlosion is hands down my least favorite starter. Why? Well, for those who have battled Typhlosion online, what would you expect it to use? It spams Eruption, that's what! This is really annoying. Almost every Typhlosion I saw online kept spamming Eruption, an attack that has a base power of 150. Combine this with Typhlosion's 109 special attack and 100 base speed, slap some choice specs on it, and anything on your team that doesn't resist fire, isn't as bulky, or as slow will be poke-toast. This is especially annoying in double battles, since Eruption will hit both of your Pokémon. Sure, Typhlosion is not an OP Pokémon by any means, but it sure is annoying. Oh boy. What do you get when you combine annoying, spammy, and brokenness? You get Aegislash. I hate Aegislash. I can't really say that it sucks, because the thing is, it is just too good. First off, Aegislash is able to switch between its sword form, which is super offensive, and its shield form, which is super defensive. Both of these forms have their own stat distribution, while having the same base stat total. The thing is, switching between these forms is so easy and so exploitable that technically Aegislash's stats look more like this. You know what that means? Aegislash has effectively a base stat total of 720, making it as strong as Arceus. Freaking Arceus, the god of Pokémon! Due to its type combination, it has many resistances, which makes it even more dangerous. It can also run multiple sets, so it can be prepared for almost everything. Aegislash also has the move King's Shield, which actually activates its ability. It's like Protect on crack, because when you touch it via a physical move, your Pokémon's attack stat gets lowered by 2 stages. 2 stages! How ridiculous is this? This alone forces the game to heavily rely on mind games, and just because of Aegislash's presence itself. One wrong prediction and you're done for! Additionally, Aegislash can learn moves such as Shadow Sneak, which is a high priority move. This, along with King's Shield and its 150 base attack, makes its slow speed stat practically non-existent. Oh, and good luck surviving that 150 base attack stab Shadow Sneak. The point is, it's very easy for the person using Aegislash to just change forms. But the opponent has a very hard time. This thing is just broken. But there's something worse. Something far worse. Before I unveil my number 1 pick, let's do a quick recap. Number 10, Farfetch'd. Number 9, Lopunny and Diggersty. Number 8, Ursaring and Beartic. Number 7, Garchomp. Number 6, Bronzong. Number 5, Kangaskhan. Number 4, Terrakion. Number 3, Typhlosion. And number 2, Aegislash. Okay, now we are here, the number 1 spot. So far, we've seen Pokémon that were annoying because they were broken, spammy, or because they were overused. Others were just flat out uninspiring. The number 1 Pokémon combines all of these elements. Trainers abuse its signature move way too often. You see it quite often online, and it is a true game breaker. This Pokémon is literally my worst nightmare come true. Let me put you in a certain situation first. So you're seeking for an online battle, the game found an opponent, okay, that's fine. You take a look at the opponent's team, and then you see this. Oh no, no, not again, please! You can use an Aegislash, a Bronzong, a Garchomp, and some other stupid overused Ubers, for all I care, but please! No Dark Void abusing Darkrai! Oh yeah, that's right. I absolutely hate Darkrai. In fact, Darkrai is not only number 1 on my list, but it is also the number 1 reason why I made this countdown in the first place. Word needs to be spread about how abominable this Pokemon is. I even wanted to put Darkrai on my top 10 characters I want to punch in the face list, but I figured out that it fits better on this list. Although it does deserve a super effective focused punch in the face. Let's start things off, shall we? First off, Darkrai is the definition of cheap. What's that? You want to win without using any strategy or thought put into your turns? Use Darkrai. It doesn't matter if you have an IQ of sandpaper, as you will still be able to win the battle. So how cheap is it? Darkrai's main objective is to put its foes to sleep with its signature move Dark Void, which by the way can hit multiple Pokemon in double and triple battles. On top of that, Darkrai has the ability Bad Dreams, which causes damage to all sleeping Pokemon on the field. And on top of that, Darkrai learns the move Nightmare at level 38, just so it can be even more of an obnoxious prick. And on top of that, it learns Dream Eater at level 84, just so it can further feed off of your misery. But that's not all. The cheapness continues to ridiculous levels. Darkrai has an amazing special attack stat, so it can finish off everything that's in the helpless sleeping state. Darkrai also outspeeds almost everything in the metagame, so chances are your Pokemon will fall asleep before they get to attack it. This in itself is ticking me off. And to further add insult to injury, Event Darkrai gets access to moves such as Spatial Rent and War of Time. Stop breaking things that are already broken to begin with! And this is my personal opinion, but Darkrai's design is awful. It's an emo boogeyman. How pretentious and tryhard is this? It basically looks like something a 12-year-old scene girl would put on DeviantArt. Oh, and Darkrai is not only a douchebag on the battlefield. The Pokédex entry from Pearl states, "Folklore has it that on moonless nights, this Pokemon will make people see horrific nightmares." The Heart Gold entry states, "It chases people and Pokemon from its territory by causing them to experience deep, nightmarish slumbers." Now you might point me to the Platinum Pokédex entry, which states, "To protect itself, it afflicts those around it with nightmares. However, it means no harm." Yeah, right, no harm. So tell me, does no harm include tormenting a young boy with horrific nightmares? Does it also include trapping a deceased girl's ghost in eternal nightmares? No. Darkrai is a cruel, heartless monster. Or are you telling me that a legendary Pokemon has to protect itself from human children? You must be kidding. And now I know what some of you may be thinking. But Yana, Darkrai sacrificed itself in the movie. It's a hero. Okay, first off, I clearly stated that I would only consider the main game's canonical settings. But you know what? For the sake of this argument, I'll make an exception and break this rule. Good. So what did Darkrai do in the movie? In the 10th movie, The Rise of Darkrai, Darkrai fights against Dialga and Palkia, who threaten to destroy the fabric of space and time. In the process, Darkrai sacrifices itself for the well-being of the citizens of Alamos Town. This makes people think of Darkrai as a hero. But the whole thing is flawed. You know who else sacrificed himself for the well-being of citizens of another city? Latios. Latios, alongside with Latias, tried to protect Alto Mare from the coming doom in the 5th movie. While they do succeed, Latios dies in the process. He dies. Darkrai does not die. It is clearly shown that Darkrai survived the whole thing. So, the intention may be good, but can you really call that a sacrifice? And why do people worship Darkrai as a hero, when by that logic, Latios is the real hero? To finally conclude, Darkrai, in my opinion, is the most despicable Pokémon. I hate this thing, it's annoying, it's a coward, it's unfair, it's overused, it's broken, it's abused, and I don't want to deal with this nightmare any longer. Phew, bear with me please. This has been my top 10 least favorite Pokemon. You don't have to agree with me, but please respect my opinion. What are your top 10 least favorite Pokemon, and why? Feel free to leave a comment. Did you watch my top 10 favorite Pokemon? Then click on this annotation if you haven't. Want to know about my top 18 favorite types? Then please click here. If you enjoy my videos, then please subscribe to me. I also have a Twitter account now, in case you want to follow me. Anyway, my name is Jana, thank you for watching my countdown. See you next time!